You look in the mirror every morning and see the exact same face. You feel unchanged, yet a photograph of yourself from 10 years ago reveals a stranger. The person you remember being has vanished, replaced by someone entirely different. Our brains evolved to hide this slow transformation from us. For millions of years, survival on the prehistoric savanna depended on reacting to immediate threats. A loud noise or a movement in the brush meant danger. Natural selection rewarded minds that prioritized the dramatic and the sudden. Because gradual changes, like the aging of a body or the shifting of a landscape, rarely required urgent action, our consciousness learned to filter them out. We evolved a practical awareness rather than a philosophical one. This leaves us with a feeling of absolute stillness, even though we inhabit a reality in constant, invisible motion. This biological blind spot shapes our entire society. Children are born into a world where complex languages, political institutions, and massive cities already exist. We accept these historical creations as fixed, eternal laws of nature because they have always been there. Even revolutionary breakthroughs quickly dissolve into the background. There was a time when families gathered in living rooms to watch images arrive from distant satellites. It was a marvel of engineering. Soon, those satellite dishes populated millions of roofs. They seemed like a permanent fixture of modern life. Today, that technology sits forgotten in drawers. We treat the cutting edge of today as the final form of progress, forgetting how quickly yesterday's miracles became literal bricks. This is the tyranny of the present. It confines us through familiarity, allowing the temporary circumstances of our time to disguise themselves as permanent. Breaking this illusion requires the historical imagination, the ability to perceive the invisible layers of time hidden inside everyday reality. Take an ordinary hammer. To a practical mind, it is a simple tool with a handle and a heavy head, meant to drive nails. Look closer, and the hammer reveals an unbroken lineage. It reaches back to the first human hand that picked up a stone and realized nature could be shaped. That stone tool evolved into the bronze blade, then the iron furnace, and eventually the precision gears of the industrial age. The hammer you hold is the endpoint of thousands of years of trial and error. No object stands alone. Every tool in your home is compressed history, representing the accumulated discoveries of countless generations. This layering applies to our thoughts as well. Just as modern cities stand on physical ruins, modern society stands on ancient ideas. We walk through the forgotten foundations of empires that also believed their way of life was permanent. The philosopher Hegel called this the zeitgeist. Our ideas of justice, morality, and truth are an intellectual atmosphere we inherit from our specific era. Hegel saw history as a dialectic. An existing idea collides with a new contradiction. Through that friction, a more complex understanding emerges. This process refines the capacity of the human mind over generations. We inherit the ability to think in ways that would have been inconceivable to our ancestors. Curious, true intellectual freedom begins when we recognize that we are the living intersection of this massive evolution of thought. If everything around us is part of a process, what does that mean for our individual identity? We experience ourselves as isolated individuals, yet our identity stretches backward into a biological chain of ancestors who adapted and survived long before we were born. The horizon of your existence reaches even further into cosmic time. The iron in your blood and the carbon in your cells were forged inside the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. Every human life has unfolded upon this small world, a tiny point of matter suspended in a 13 billion-year narrative. This cosmic matter has spent billions of years organizing itself into a brain capable of contemplating its own origins. Through your consciousness, the universe has finally developed a way to look back and reflect upon itself. Long before Hegel, the Buddha recognized this fluid reality. He described existence as anicca, impermanence, and anatta, the absence of a fixed, unchanging self. Human suffering often stems from our mind's attempt to freeze a reality that is fundamentally in motion. We cling to a permanent identity while the world flows past us. Accepting this change brings a profound shift. We can stop defending a static self and embrace the reality of being a continuous process. Freedom from the tyranny of the present begins when we see ourselves as part of this movement. You are not a fixed object moving through time. You are the river of history, finally becoming aware of its own flow.